Oh my god, you guys, check this out. This is so cool. I made this.
Ink Ribbon.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing something a little different because it's just been a long week and I need a break from the 50 facts videos and I'm still kind of getting over the flu.
Biohazard contamination detected. Level 3. Emergency shutters will close.
So I decided to do something fun and still Resident Evil related to please you, but I put out a poll on my community post or whatever it's called now, and I asked you guys which of these hallways would you like me to remake, and overwhelmingly you guys said the Crow hallway. Like why? I mean, the Crow hallway is cool and everything, but like, is there something I don't know? But anyway, the only way I can explain what I'm trying to do here is, aside from a fan project, I just wanted to remake the classic RPD or Resident Evil environments in 3D, but in low poly, because I miss when video games look like video games. If you want the full realistic HD RPD, then go play Resident Evil 2 Remake. Capcom already made it. I am trying to make it as exact to the original as possible while still looking like... It's kind of between a PS1 and PS2 game. It's almost like PSP graphics or something. But anyway, this is that video. So let's get started. So starting off, I did my usual stuff. I'm used to doing modular, especially modular low poly environments. I actually sell them on itch.io as like a little bit of a side hustle, but also because I'm going to use them in my own games, might as well sell them. And I was going to do a whole tutorial, which is why I'm going over all this in detail, but I ended up just not doing it because I was talking too much. But if you're interested in learning how to do all this, I will do a tutorial on my other channel at some point on how to make modular low poly environments. But anyway, this is really not that interesting. I promise you, it's just a bunch of pushing pixels around and blah blah blah, and you know, nobody ever cares about the environments, but I do because I like to make them. And here I'm just making walls, making windows, you know, the usual stuff. And here, this was one of the things I was really excited to make because the Crow hallway has these sort of like awnings that not only look nice, but they help break up the environment and make it look way more detailed than it actually is. And they're just archways. I don't really know what the aesthetic or point of them is, but they look nice. And yeah. And after finalizing the archways, I was able to kind of snap them together and made sure everything that needed to go where it goes there, and it looks nice. I was actually really happy with it, and if I'm being honest, I'm probably going to end up reusing these for my own games because, I mean, look at that. You could just make a whole room out of just these pieces. It's amazing. Game development really is kind of like Legos, if I'm being honest. You just have to make all the pieces and then they all snap together. But unlike Legos, you can duplicate them infinitely. Then we move on to the part of 3D art that I think probably everybody hates, and it's honestly the hardest part, is texturing, and that's where you add textures and materials to objects to bring them to life, because as you can see now, suddenly these gray polygonal shapes are starting to come together and be recognizable because they now have textures. It's very boring, very mind-numbing, and I don't know what else to say about it. One thing I will say is, you'll notice I do everything on texture sheets, also called texture atlases, and that's just because it's simple for me. Everything's on one sheet, and if I need to make any changes, it applies to everything. And it's a really great way to keep memory low when you're making games, and just, I don't know, this is just my workflow. Some people really don't like doing it this way, but I love it. You can see here I did some trim sheets, so I'm able to reuse a lot of the textures in different places. It's just the way that I was taught when I went into game development at school, and that's how I'm going to continue to do it. It was really fun getting to remake a lot of these items, especially like this metal door right here, because, you know, it's a pretty iconic door in Resident Evil 2. You see it in a lot of places, and I don't know, it was something special. It's interesting to work on this because I feel like I'm stepping into the shoes of the developers, you know, back in the 90s. I can see them doing this, but they did not have programs like Blender. They were probably using some archaic, horrible 3D program that was really just not fun. And now the fun part. I feel like we're gonna fast forward like 2 years and I will have basically just recreated all of Raccoon City. Alright, and there we got the Crow Hall applied. And because Unreal does not have a way to apply this just to everything all at once, I have to individually go in here like an animal. I tell you. Alright, so we're gonna put the floor, and I always put it at 0, 0, 0. Yay. So this is where everything starts to really come together in Unreal Engine. This is why you do modular art the way you do it, because everything just snaps together beautifully like Legos. And what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of laying everything out where I think it's supposed to go. And on my other monitor, I'm using the original map from Resident Evil 2 as reference. But I did get a little confused and I had to rework the layout a couple times because the hallway was just not correct. I had it going in a different direction and blah blah blah, but it's coming together. I think it's looking pretty good. Oh yeah, I'm enough of a Resident Evil fan to know that this is correct just from this angle right here. Okay, now the fun part. Well, not really, but let there be light. And we're going to put a rect light, which is like, I had the flu here, so I was babbling, but basically this is just a square light that is specifically meant to, you know, emulate a window light shining through. The only problem is it only lights from one side, so then you have to add a second light to light up the window itself, otherwise it just looks weird. Once I got the lights how I wanted them, I just copied and pasted them on pretty much every window and finished it up. Now please enjoy this fanboy moment of me enjoying my work for the first time. And the floor has no collision. Whoa, God, that scared me. Oh my God, you guys, check this out. This is so cool. I made this with my own 2 hands. This is really cool. Holy crap. I know it's not done yet, but wow. I'm in the Crow hallway. Oh my God, and it's in 3D and it still looks like a PS1 game. And I couldn't help myself. I made the windows have a shiny material just because it, as you can see, it makes it look like windows. And I've hit that point where I'm not having fun anymore. So I will stop for today and pick it up tomorrow. I quickly made the pipes that go across the ceiling so that the hanging lights actually have something to hang off of. So now I'm going and making some of the other props that you see in this hallway, and this includes cardboard boxes and cones and brooms and just miscellaneous stuff. You'll see this a lot in Resident Evil environments and kind of in games in general where you just have, think of a game where you see a bunch of crates or barrels and stuff. It's kind of just the bread and butter of game development, but when they're used properly, they can really make an environment feel more fleshed out and alive. In this case, for some reason, the cardboard boxes in this hallway are just mangled and destroyed. I don't know what happened to them. It looks like they all like survived a thunderstorm. But then we also have cones and brooms and some other stuff, so that's just filling in the environment. Now, I was gonna leave the windows intact, but I couldn't help it. I mean, the crows breaking through is so iconic, so I decided to add some smashed windows, and I just did this by duplicating the window, manually breaking it apart. Then I added this sort of skybox to simulate like you're looking outside, because I really don't want to have to model the whole entire exterior, and it's sort of like a camera trick, kind of, but it's a way to keep everything sort of contained and still make it look like there's something through the glass, otherwise it just looks really flat. Then here I used the cell fracture feature in Blender, which now is an add-on for some reason, but I did it with the wood and the glass, and I just tried to, it's a lot easier to just simulate it than to manually try to place everything and make it look natural. And then I brought it into Unreal. And without further ado, here is the final product, what you've all been waiting for. Alright, so if we zoom out, there's the hallway. Wow. So I'm going to give you guys a tour. This is the room that leads to the waiting room hall. And then there's this, which I'm assuming is for a fire extinguisher, but I couldn't tell if there was one in there and I didn't feel like making one, so I didn't put one in there. We got this pipe that goes all the way across the hall, and that's what holds the fluorescent lights. And then this door, I made a simple door system just to test it. That leads to nothing and nowhere, but the rooms won't actually be physically connected. They'll kind of teleport you, which is how Silent Hill 1 did it. So I'm taking inspiration from that. There's no footstep sounds yet, but there will be because I have all the Resident Evil 2 sound effects on my hard drive, because of course I do. And so we got an intact window, which I did put reflections on, and then you got broken windows. I'm not really happy with how the broken windows turned out, but, you know, whatever. This painting of saints I found online, and it just looked similar. It's really hard to identify what the original painting was. Oh, I need to fix these textures. They're bleeding onto the frame. But anyway, there's the push broom from Resident Evil Outbreak, and for some reason, there's traffic cones on the second floor. I think those should probably be like caution wet floor signs, but whatever. Oh, and I gave them physics so you can bump into them if you want. Hopefully it doesn't cause problems. And then we have, for some reason, all the cardboard boxes in this hallway are like, it's like somebody stomped on all of them and they're all wet or something. I don't know what happened. This was kind of a test. I know there's supposed to be more of these, but I just didn't feel like making more, and I was like, And then there's like some object here that I can't identify. It's like a weird canteen thing or something. I don't know what it is. And then there's a folding chair, which I will probably add later. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's literally it. So here's the thing. I'm not sure what to do with this continuing forward, because this is probably going to end up being a series when I just need to you know, it's like an artist needs to paint. Sometimes it's just to make 3D models. And I could do one of two things. I could literally remake the RPD, but, you know, we've already kind of seen that a couple times. But what I was also thinking was I could make a Resident Evil museum kind of thing, where, like, let's say you go through this door, and instead of being in the waiting room hallway, you're in a room in Code Veronica, or a room in, I don't know, Resident Evil 3. Like the original Resident Evil 3 or Resident Evil 1 or whatever. So I'm still kind of thinking, I really don't know why I did this. It was just a fun thing to do, and I hope you guys appreciate it. And eventually I'll release this as a playable thing once I've got more than just one hallway. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Remember to drink water and pet your pets. Until next time, I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon.
All my friends are zombies now, and yes, that much is true. You gotta run, you gotta fight, I know it's such a pity. 'Cause if we stay, we're gonna die.